Okay, so just to recap, Amanda was telling us about how she's used breath practices to help with her anxiety, and that you've also been using that with the kids that you've worked with in your work, right?
Yeah, me and not just me though, but it's like a lot of people use it. Like a lot of the girls learned it from their therapist and then they just practice it at home.
So is it any like is there kind of a method to it or is it more just awareness?
Both, it depends on what they're taught. Like I never taught it to them. I only just helped them carry it through when they were home.
Hmm.
Because we weren't treatment based.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Okay.
so it depended.
So it sounds like breath awareness. That's really the foundation of pranayama. That's where we start. It's the same. It sounds the same. The only thing that we do that's different in yoga is we've standardized it. We've codified it, and we have like specific types of patterns that we will use. But it also just really depends on the person's ability. So depends on um, what they can do and what they're hoping to achieve. And it's more technique, meaning it's more deliberate. So we deliberately practice these breathing techniques so that we're not just aware of our breath, but we are in control of our breath. It's the same thing. It's just like up a notch. Does that make sense, Amanda? Yeah. So like for example, when I teach at the end, I will typically do the Vishama Vritti, which is a longer exhalation, which is twice as long as the inhalation. And I usually teach it 3 to 6, but some people is maybe better 2 to 4, or maybe some people have a greater capacity and they can go 4 and 8 or 4 and 6. But the idea is that you, like you said, you slow down your breath, and more specifically, you slow down the exhale.
Yeah. The farthest I went when it comes to that, up to 12.
12.
We have some
Yeah.
exercises with the Buddhist monk. We exercise up to 12,
Mhm. You mean
and
the
we are
exhale?
moving in yoga
Oh, while you're
where we are
moving.
moving. But those movements are just slow movement.
Mhm. Yeah, so
Like the
that's the next level too, is to monitor and um, move the breath while you're moving the body. So, like if you take 5 breaths to lift your arms up overhead for the sun salutation, 5 breaths to forward fold.
yeah, very delicious. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially when you're about to go to down dog and you're counting up to 12, you can really align your body, your
Yeah, you find
feet.
little adjustments, right, to keep
Yeah,
moving in
you
and
can break it down from the hands to the back to the hips to the hamstring. You can have more time now to really 12. That's the end of five, 4 breaths in and then 12 breaths out.
12 breaths out. Oh, I thought you meant 12 counts.
12 counts. Sorry.
12
12
counts.
counts. Sorry. 12 counts. 12 counts.
12 counts. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so
But
oops, we lost her.
I, you lost me?
No, I lost Amanda.
Nah.
Where'd she go? Let me find her.
Yeah. It's a good practice. You
Mm-hmm.
will. It's more therapeutic as far as I'm concerned. Doing the that kind of a movement, you do uh, moving in you moving and then you're practicing pranayama while moving.
Yeah.
It's more therapeutic. Yeah.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Just 5 Surya A. You're good na for the whole day.
Mm. Let me pause. Let me see if I can find her. Hold on.
Where's Samantha? She left or she just
I think she might have.
did that. Yeah, si Tali, I tried that one time in
Mhm.
Kapalabati. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't have a extensive background in pranayama, but I do know about these and I have used all of these techniques, and I kind of have developed my own way of applying them that you may find helpful. But so remember though, overall, the overall purpose of pranayama is like what Amanda was saying, is to bring the awareness to the breath. And where is it that pranayama techniques serve to focus our attention to where the breath is in the body, which helps us focus our mind. So ultimately, we're after the effect on the mind and the feelings, right? Monitoring and managing our emotions, because the breath is that one conscious thing that we can control that is linked to our emotions and our mind. It's both autonomic and conscious. So it's unconscious and conscious. You cannot think about your breath. We do most of the day when we're doing other things, or you can change your breath. So it's that one bodily function that's both. And that's why it's so useful for us. And also, it's something that we constantly do. It's always with us. So we always have access to that vehicle of control over our nervous system. So in particular, the Vishamavritti, the double exhalation, let me see, where is that? The double of the exhalation, that's the practice that, oh, I guess I didn't put it in there yet. That's the practice that puts us into the parasympathetic nervous.
Where is that?
The parasympathetic is the rest and digest. It's the
Yeah. What do you say about the pranayama? What pranayama?
Vishama vritti.
Where is that?
I did put it in here. Let me find it.
Yeah, biloma, auto, anuloma.
Nope, I put it in here. I know I did. So there's samavritti, which is sama meaning, in my mind, same. Samavritti is the same inhalation and exhalation. So 4 counts to inhale, 4 counts to exhale. Vishamavritti is 4 counts to inhale, 8 counts to exhale. So it's not the same length. Samavritti is same length. Vishamavritti, not the same length.
It's not the same.
Right. I know I put that in here somewhere.
It's okay. I can remember that.
Yeah, okay.
That is one area that I would like to explore. And although I know a little about pranayama, but I was able to use pranayama to get into poses because I just imagine myself doing those pranayama while I'm going to go into a pose. It's not enough that you have the strength, the flexibility, but your breathing must be right to stay in that position.
Yes, yes.
So the pranayama is really going to be automatic if you are practicing it as often as you want.
Yeah,
Some people
so
cannot breathe while in that difficult pose. They cannot stay. They can only do it for picture taking for one, but they cannot sustain it for at least 3 breaths or 5 breaths.
yeah, so here's some very specific pranayama techniques. These are the basic ones. Other
Yeah.
ones can get fancy. You know, that's just being fancy. But these are the basic ones, and
Ujjayi is an Ashtanga breathing. You do Ujjayi all throughout.
all throughout. Yeah. So Ujjayi is you constrict the larynx
Yeah.
a little bit, and then the breath becomes audible. You can hear it. So try it right now.
Yeah, I've been doing that, but I also found out that doing too much Ujjayi can also damage your epiglottis.
Your epiglottis.
The
Oh,
epiglottis, the one that
maybe.
blocks the vocal cord.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
you
okay
do
to
it.
do it. I do it during the Surya only, but at the rest, no, I don't follow.
Don't do that. Yeah. So what I have seen as being really effective with the Ujjayi breath is when you're in a difficult position, pose, and you're having trouble focusing or staying and you want to get out because it's challenging. I found that the Ujjayi breath can be helpful in that case. So
Ujjayi
not
to
the
me,
whole time. Yeah,
Ujjayi is useful to me when you are moving. into different shifting position. You are transitioning from one
Transition.
pose to
Mhm.
yeah, from one pose to another, which is sometimes you can lose your balance. Which I OJ to me is very. But when I have to stay, I'm using the equal breathing.
The samavriti. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
some breathing.
ujjayi breath also, because of the constriction in the back of the throat, it has an effect on the connective tissue that is on in front of the spine. So if you
Oh,
imagine your spine is right here, the
uh,
throat is right here, and you're constricting that throat a little bit, it's going to affect
mhm,
the connective tissue behind it, which is
mhm.
in front of the spine. So it has kind of an effect there. It
Yeah.
creates a vibration. So another thing that Ujjayi breath is good for is for warming you up from the inside.
Yes.
So if you're
It
cold,
practice
if it's a
Ujjayi.
cold day, if it's a
Yeah.
cold day, if everybody's coming in from a cold, outside, and so you, Amanda, it's cold there, right? So if you're going to be practicing, and it's difficult to, it's just it's uncomfortable maybe, or hard to get yourself going. Ujjayi breath while you're moving can help warm
Yeah,
you up.
I
Right.
agree. I've
And then
tested that.
Anuloma Ujjayi, little variation. And like this, I don't necessarily use these, these two, Anuloma and Viloma, but they're a variation of Ujjayi. So Anuloma is you breathe in through the throat with your mouth open, and then you close one nostril and breathe out through the other. So it's basically,
Is it right? I use the Biloma
you use
when at the end of
Viloma.
the class when I want to wake them up after after the Savasana.
Oh, okay. So
Oh,
Viloma is you breathe in through the nostril and
and
out
through
through the mouth.
the mouth. Yeah, that is before they rise up from Savasana. That's what I do.
Okay,
So that
good.
they,
Good tip. And then Nadi Shodhana is
is that
alternate.
okay? Is that okay?
I don't see why not. I think that's fine. Yeah. And then Nadi Shodhana is alternate nostril breathing.
Yeah.
You breathe in, usually start on the left, breathe in on the left, and you use a mudra, like I use this one. The thumb goes on the right nostril, this goes on the left. So I breathe in through the left, like that, and then exhale through the right. Then inhale
Yeah.
right, exhale left.
That is good when you have a headache.
Yeah, it's very good to focus your mind. It also balances, feeling unbalanced. I'll do this if it's been a class where we do a lot of up and down or right and left, and it's kind of destabilizing. So I'll usually do this at the end of a class like that, like if we did a lot of twisting or maybe balancing. So that could be good for that, or just if we need a little focus, we need a better focus. I'm not.
In Nadi Sadhana, did you try it? Not pressing your nostril? Na, ano lang, you're just focusing on one nostril to breathing
Yeah,
and
I've
80%
not
of the
tried it,
breath.
but I can do it.
Yeah. Diba? If you practice Nadi, so Sadhana, you can really do it without
Yeah, that's
your hand.
cool. That's a level of control right there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice,
You
no?
do.
But I cannot do it now.
Yeah, that's fun. That would be a
uh,
fun thing to do. So you can see how you can get, you can get creative, or you can get fancy with it, but there's a basic purpose for each one, and so as long as you remember that, you'll know how to use it. And then Sitali is the cooling breath, and what you do is you curl the tongue, and you inhale through the curled tongue, and then exhale. Amanda, can you curl your tongue? Not at all? Okay, so there's an alternate. What you do, it's called Sitkari pranayama, as you just open your teeth and your lips, and you put your tongue between your teeth. Yeah, and that will also cool the breath. So that's a good one. It's literally a cooling breath. What it does when you inhale the air as it passes through your tongue, it cools the air down. And so you're inhaling cool air. And that's all. You're hot, you're somewhere hot, you're uncomfortably hot. That helps cool it. Yeah. And then Kapalabhati breath is the breath of fire, and that uses more belly because it's a super active exhalation. So think of a pump, and what you're actually doing is pushing the air out quickly, like that. And you have to keep the upper body really relaxed, and it's just a quick pulling in of the belly. So the belly pumps in like this. That's Kapalabhati. And I like to use that one like at the beginning of class sometimes if I want to help them activate their abdomen.
Oh, good. Especially if your theme is about the core.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
And you can
That I,
also use it in certain poses, like in chair pose.
yeah.
Like while you're in chair pose, do maybe 15 seconds of Kapalabhati breath.
Oh,
If they're steady, right? If they're steady in there.
ah, I have a new. You're giving me new ideas.
Ideas. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
But
I can.
it does do that skull shining thing, so you have to give them a moment to recover in case they get lightheaded.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe a forward fold after that. So
That is the Kapalbati. Specifically, Iyengar prohibits those people who are not plant-based to practice Kapalbati.
oh, I see.
That
Interesting.
is a specific mention, the Kapalbati.
Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah.
You know,
Um,
the Iyengar has so many restrictions on.
on how to practice. Yeah. And I know that in Bikram yoga, if you guys have tried Bikram, they have Kapalabhati breath at the very end. They do Kapalabhati breath.
I attended the Iyengar practice for 3 months.
Mm.
After that, I got bored.
Oh.
They enter a pose, jumping. Huh?
Oh yeah.
You enter the triangle, Trikonasana, you jump. All those poses, you have to jump back. You have to
Oh.
jump.
Jump back and then
And
jump
then,
forward,
yeah,
right?
all jumping. A lot of jumping.
Interesting. And then Vastrika is the same, similar to Kapalabhati. It's an active exhalation, but it's slower. And that one is something you can do a variation of that, like if you're while you're in upward bow, not upward bow pose, Dhanurasana. Because you know how you're on your belly and you're holding your feet behind you. So your belly is compressed. So if you do an active inhale and exhale from your belly, you're going to rock, right? And what that's going to do is because you have resistance on your belly, you're going to work on the diaphragm. So the diaphragm has to work a little bit harder. So you're basically exercising the diaphragm. That makes sense?
Mhm.
Strengthening your diaphragm. And we'll try these, well, not all at the same time, but we'll try these different ones throughout our practice.
Can we do it while we are practicing?
Huh?
Right? Can we do the pranayama while we are moving, while
Yeah.
we are in?
Yeah.
While
We'll practice those. Not
I want to
today.
experience. I haven't experienced that because it's only ujjayi that I'm used to,
Oh
but
yeah.
not the other pranayama practice.
Yeah, we'll do a few of those we'll do some in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Not today, because I want Kyla to be
I
here.
just I just want to find out how you will command us to do that. That is really interesting. How will you
Interesting.
cue us?
Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
And then the
And I
sequence, how?
you're still recovering, so we don't want to do that today.
Yeah, not today.
Yeah. Okay, so some things to remember about pranayama in general is nothing should be forced. So when you're cueing this, if like for example, you're going to cue a Vishama Vritti, you need to let the students know, especially if you have new people, that if it's too uncomfortable for them to exhale for that long, take the inhale when you need it so that they don't get stressed or panic or anything like that. So nothing should be forced, and don't practice Nadishodhana if the sinuses are obstructed, like you have congestion. Don't hold your breath if inhalation and exhalation are not full and clear. And remember that pranayama techniques are to help us focus where the breath is in our body so that we can focus our mind and also monitor our emotions. And then make sure to rest in between asana and pranayama so that the transition is easier on the body. So you have to give the body time to adjust from one practice to another. But of course, we're going to incorporate both, so that's a different experience. And then always find a sitting position when you're doing just pranayama that's sustainable throughout that practice. So if it's uncomfortable to sit, you need to either on the ground, you need to either have some props or have them be in a chair. So just be observant of how they're feeling or how they look in their seat. Make sure that you are providing adjustments or props or alternatives if they're not comfortable sitting easy cross-legged. And then keeping the pranayamas practices simple so that they're interesting enough but not too complicated so that it creates tension. So you don't want to be counterproductive with the pranayama practice. So Amanda, I'm curious, can you give us a scenario of like when you would use your breath? Like what would you notice first when you're in relation to like controlling their panic? I'm very interested in how that works and how
I mean, it's different things that I notice first. Sometimes I notice my irregular breath first. Sometimes I notice my irregular heartbeat or heart rate first, or my eye movement, or just the way that my body feels. And then once I am aware of one of those, I start controlling my breath and focusing in. And I don't know, maybe it will develop into something, maybe it won't. But either way, I just do it to address it and de-escalate anything that's going to happen first before it can escalate.
Yeah, okay. That's really interesting. So when you're noticing, so it sounds like you have different cues that you're watching out for, but ultimately the breath can handle all of those and help you de-escalate any of those.
It's the easiest thing to use. Like if I'm out in public or I'm around someone or in a social setting or something, it's the easiest, I don't know, coping mechanism to engage.
Mhm.
Most
Yeah, that's precisely why it's so helpful and so important. And then the pranayama techniques that we're talking about here are really skill level. So it becomes another skill. And because we practice it regularly, it has the opportunity to actually affect your nervous system. So that maybe the panic attacks will be less, or maybe the emotions will be more steady because you're continually through the pranayama practice trying to heal, trying to regulate the nervous system that's dysregulated. So that's the hope. Yeah.
How about Amy?
Huh?
When you do pranayama, I tell my students, especially in Ujjayi,
Mm-hmm.
is listening to your breath because that will keep their attention to the inflow and outflow of their breath by trying to listen to it. Use their listening
Right.
facility to really feel the sound because it has sound that you can listen even though it's not that loud, it's so silent, but their attention, their ear is focused on the breath
Mm-hmm.
by
Yeah,
listening to their breath.
you can
What do you
listen.
think of that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. listening to your breath, feeling the breath in your body, like where it's moving.
Yeah. Because
That,
other than the movement of the chest and the stomach,
Mhm.
they can focus their awareness on the inflow through their
Yes.
ears.
Yeah, you can listen to the breath. You can
So
notice any
all,
other physical
all their,
sensations.
in a way, all their five senses are now focused on what they're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Into
Yeah,
that
and
moment.
you can also get more subtle. You can notice the temperature of the air, like
Yeah.
as it passes through your nose. You can maybe feel it, notice it.
Yeah.
So, um, I like to use the analogy of, when if you watch an ant carry
What's
something,
the
an
what's the
ant,
what? Yeah, ants.
ants, if you watch an ant carrying something, right, you're watching something very small, very tiny. That's
Yeah.
that's our breath. Our breath is subtle. So it, it's it can tend to be boring for some if they're used to a lot of activity and a lot of input and a lot of entertainment. But that's the discipline, is
Yeah.
observing something that's subtle, that's simple, and that's always present, that you maybe take for granted.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
So here it is. Samavriti, different portions of breath are performed equally in length. So there is actually it's called the box breath that the military used that I learned about. So they inhale to 4, hold for 4, exhale to 4, and hold for 4. That's just an example. Vishamavriti, different phases of the breath are of different lengths. Commonly, the exhalation is twice as long, as we had said. And so that's all I'm going to talk about pranayama today. And I want to switch gears now. And let's see what's my next thing. I wanted to talk about how we close a class. We've gone through the opening meditation, the sun salutations, the warrior poses, standing balance, if you're doing a whole body integration class or whatever your focus is. So now you've cooled down, you've done some cool down poses. How do you think you would close a class? So let's say you've done final stretches. So you got to get them down to Shavasana, right? Get them down to Shavasana. So if you think of it as a wave, so you start off just with the breath, and then with easy stretches, and then you kind of go up to more and more activities, sun salutations, warrior poses, balances, inversions, and then you start to come down, cool down poses, and then you're back onto the floor. So how do you what do you do with the Shavasana? What do you do with that space of time? What's the objective of
During or before this Sabasa?
Well, let's
Is it
talk about the
or
cool down.
before
Before,
the
yeah,
Sabasa?
and then how you get them down to when they're ready to do Shavasana. Because if you're like high activity, or you've got them like this and you're high activity, boom, and then all of a sudden, okay, lay down, time for Shavasana, right? Without a cool down. So you need a cool down. So talk to me about what that would be like. What would a cool down look like? What would be the objective and the purpose of a cool down segment?
Cool down is I interpret it as a way of going back to the neutral, going back to the natural state of your body. After the strenuous practice, you want to return it back to its natural state. What I do is I first do the sitting, a little bit of seated position, seated poses, like twisting and even side bends, because sometimes it can help them side bends with a little bit of rotation when your chest is rotating to the ground.
Mhm.
And then I will tell them to lie down on their back and have their knees, the apasana. It's a good Cool
Vipassana
down.
is the knees in to your chest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The Vipassana, that the little chest thing.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
after Vipassana, maybe if you did a lot of not much warrior, you just want to neutralize it with that back being on the ground. Do the
Mhm.
happy baby. The
Mhm.
happy baby pose. It's a very good way to end it. But not too active. It's not too active. Just pull it down slightly so that it will not really strain your inner thigh.
Mm. Like
Then
more of just relaxing the joints.
joints, yeah. And then
Yeah.
sometimes I do the what they call supported breaths. I don't want them to lift themselves up. I just want their hips lifted with the use of the blocks. So
Mhm.
it's more of a static breaths. Just relax in there.
Mhm.
And then normally I use two blocks. Then I tell them to remove one block at a time to feel how it feels. Then remove everything and then go back. Then they can to Savasana already from there.
Mhm. Nice. Good.
Maybe before that, before on sitting, we can do some. I got an idea from you, some breathing exercise,
Mm.
some pranayama before they go down to a
Yeah.
reclining position. Yeah. And then
Making
after that,
sure.
after Savasana, a little bit of maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes of silence, just doing maybe pratyahara, just concentration. Concentrate on something that they're happy about, or concentrate on something that they want to do, or something that they want to achieve that day. Because I always tell them, imagine it and it will happen. So just
So you give
imagine.
them something to think about during Shavasana.
After
Oh,
after
after,
in
during the
Savasana, I want them
final.
to really settle, and then after that, I want them to think about
Mhm.
because it's not bad to really think about something. If you want to do something today, imagine that you're going to do it now and what you will do.
Mhm.
Then when you're
Visualization.
going to do it, you're going to be mindful in your because you've thought about it already. So
Yeah,
use
another
them.
thing you could do for the cool down is you can put in your counter poses there.
So I do the
Counter
counter pose immediately after. You know what I learned about yoga, sex sequencing? After a set of sequence, I do some counter poses already so that their body will not hurt, especially the beginners. If you do
Yeah.
everything at the end, because in the resistance training that I've learned in PRX, we have set of blocks or circuits that we do. After every circuit, we do stretching. We do a little
Oh,
bit of
that's
stretching.
good. Yeah, but
So
you
at the end of the
you
at the end of the practice, your body will not hurt that much.
yeah. So, but
Yeah. So
you can add a few more counter poses at the end as well, especially if you've
yeah,
done inversions at the end. And also
yeah.
you can
Maybe
what I like to do also, and this is a little more on the aesthetic side. So I sometimes I will have a theme movement through the class. Like it could be, I don't know, movement could be like maybe this. This could be a theme
yeah,
movement. So you do that at the
yeah,
beginning. Just this, just that. Maybe
yeah,
you do it in Warrior One. Maybe you
yeah.
do it in straddle. Maybe you do it in different positions. And then you can
Mm.
revisit that at the end, kind of just to bring it back together
Yeah.
for artistic, more of
That is
aesthetics.
while in that is while in the pose. For example, in Warrior Two, you can do arm circles
Yeah,
so
arm
that your joints.
circles, things like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It could be small movements.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Amanda,
I incorporated some of my training in TRX and resistance training into yoga,
oh yeah.
and people got stronger faster than people are doing yoga for 3 years, 4 years. Once my student approached me, how come in this studio I felt stronger? Because I'm incorporating some strength training
Yeah.
into yoga.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like in the weights, about 2 pounds or 3 pounds weight when you are in Warrior
The
Two.
warrior. Hmm. Holding your
Yeah,
arms
you
out.
have the weight.
Yeah.
And then you do the reverse, then with the weights there.
Yeah.
You will really be conscious about your arms. Because some people, they're just spreading their arms there, not doing anything. So if there is a weight there, they're really extending their hand because it will get heavy if they do not extend it. Like in Warrior One, we have to extend it really, but sometimes they're not aware of that.
Yeah, that's
Their
great.
arms are limp, so with the weights, they have 2 to 3
Amanda,
pounds.
do you have any ideas for closing a class? How would you close a class?
I don't know. I feel like all the classes I've been to close the same way, and
Hmm.
Shavasana, and then becoming more aware of your present and back to reality while still holding on to the piece of the practice, basically.
Mhm. Good. Yep. And
Mm.
then, yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Sometimes I fall asleep.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes I fall
that
asleep after a
happens.
practice in Savasana.
So Shavasana typically, if you want them to get completely relaxed, it takes about 10 minutes, which is a
To
long
think about,
10 minutes.
think about 10 minutes.
10
That's a
minutes.
that's quite long, isn't it?
It's long, right? It's not what the usual, I don't know. Amanda, do you ever go to any classes where they give you that long of Shavasana?
Um, Honestly, yeah, I feel like the whole last 10 minutes is usually cool down, relaxing time. I don't know if it's all Shavasana, but we usually at least start it 10 minutes
10
till
minutes
the end.
before. So
Yeah.
if you give them 10 minutes completely in Shavasana, that's usually how long it takes for the body to get completely relaxed.
Oh my God,
It's
that's a
long,
long.
right? It's long, but that's
Yeah.
how long it takes to get all the way relaxed, all the way for complete rest. Just so
Because
you have that number in your head, just for your use. You
in the studio, we have this policy of minimum of 60, maximum of 75 minutes for the
for the
practice.
class, yeah. And
Because
usually classes are
14,
usually 5 minutes is what they give you. 3 to 5
I, me is 5.
5, yeah. But so
I
just
mean,
so you know, it takes
10
10
minutes.
minutes for the body to get completely relaxed.
In workshops, I do 10 minutes because it's really strenuous in workshops. But
Oh,
not
okay.
in
Yeah.
regular practice, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they really need to
The
really
rest.
rest in a workshop because a workshop is about 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. So be thinking about just, especially I know, Amanda, you're super experienced, but Amanda, just think about the purpose of that cool down, the purpose of Shavasana, and then bringing them out of Shavasana, right? You want to develop your own method. You don't want to just say, okay, get up. That's why I'm just going through this, just so that you're aware. Okay, we want to talk them through the transition so that, like you said, they can hold on to that feeling of peace. So you don't want things to be too abrupt. So you have a way that you're going to bring them back out, that you're going to get them up to seated position, and then we want to talk them through a final closing meditation. It could be just breathing, and this is the place where you can do that final pranayama. So either the Vishamavritti or the Nadishodhana. Um, yeah, sometimes Kapalabhati, but not typically because you want to actually something that's calming. Um, and then how you actually um, greet them. Like, what's your goodbye? How are you going to, like, I always bow and do namaste. And then when I come up, I like to smile at everybody. I like to try to make eye contact with as many people as I can. And you will become aware of how the class has affected them based on how they come up and how they come out of
Yes,
that
yes, very
that
good.
right?
Yeah.
They'll either be
Yeah.
smiling, they'll feel good, or, so it's a good way to connect to them before everybody gets up. And I usually will say goodbye. I'll stand at the door. This is just kind of my thing. I'll stand at the door and I'll say goodbye to them.
Oh, you're like a pastor, huh?
I guess. I guess. And then if they some typically there's going to be one or two people that will want to talk to me about something.
That's a good
Something,
practice.
yeah, something that like they learned during the practice or something about their life or and it's a good thing because then you learn what their needs are, you learn what's working for them. Like one of my students, how he told me how he was able to get off of um, antidepressants and anxiety medication after taking my class for a couple of years. He said it took him like 6 or 8 months of coming regularly, and then he weaned himself off medication. And that was a few years ago. He still comes to my class and he's still doing well that way. So, it's good to connect with them and learn about them. And it also is good for you because then you know what you're doing right. And then
Yeah.
sometimes you learn what you need to do better. So
Is
I
it a practice in the US when the students are showing appreciation to the student, to the teacher, they clap their hands.
say what?
They clap their hands. They applaud the teacher by clapping their hands.
Oh, sometimes they'll
Yeah, in the Philippines, it's a practice that they feel good. They show it. The Filipinos.
Oh, that's beautiful. Really? That's cute.
They will say thank you while they're clapping. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Is it
That's
a
only
practice
happened
there?
to me a couple of times where they'll. I have one
Ah,
student who always goes like this at the end, but she's the only
oh.
one that does it. She'll go like this.
Almost everybody in the class will really clap their hands. Show
That's
appreciation.
beautiful.
It's a practice here.
That's nice.
Sometimes I guess it's too corny, but
No,
it's
that's sweet.
Filipinos during concert, anything that is entertaining, they really show
Yeah,
appreciation.
there.
They
That's
can
nice.
even sing with the singer or something. Like that.
Oh, yeah. That's
And
nice.
another thing that I can also share with you, Amy,
Hmm.
during the class, I will notice some students who are having a hard time in certain poses or in the class. I zero in on him or her. After the class, I ask her if she has some time to. I just want to talk to him or her. Those are the others, but I will pick the one that is the one that is having the hardest time, and I'll talk to her.
Oh,
And then I will find out what's bothering her or the problem in her body. Sometimes she has some. Then somebody told one time I had a student who told me that he just went through a series of chemotherapy. That's why he's having a hard time.
wow.
So then I went to wrote her some note in the house to do some simple stretching. The wall. Use your wall to to do the stretching. Push the wall. Stuff like that. So it's a good practice also that is where you can really show the compassion, the
Yes.
teacher's compassion to a student. When definitely, if you can observe people, you can see some of them are struggling. They have issues when they go to most I would say almost all, if not all, have issues why they go into yoga class,
What brought them
and
there?
want those issues be addressed. So you just have to choose which one is having a harder time or the hardest time.
Yeah.
Then you focus on that. Every one person that you help is a big day for me. It's something that whatever I have done the whole of my life, I think I have redeemed myself into that one person.
That's great, Danny. Yeah. It's very fulfilling. It's very fulfilling and satisfying and yeah, it's good for the soul to connect and to help people. Yeah. And they do come to, trust you. And
Yes.
sometimes they'll ask you things that you have to say, "Oh, that's beyond my." You have to also learn how to say, "Oh, well, I think you need to see a doctor," or, physically, if it's beyond your scope. So we always have to be aware of what that is for us, what we can help with, and what we need to refer them out for. But definitely being a listener, being a good listener is sometimes that's all they need, or that's makes all the difference. So being open to them is it's kind
We're
of one
teaching him.
step beyond, right? It's what makes us more than
I
just
think I think that is what yoga is all about. You know, if I had some teachers who just come in and go after come in before the practice and go right after the practice. I usually talk to them, but if they don't change, I don't get them anymore.
Mm.
So I think that is what this yoga is all about. It's not an extra work for them. It's part of their work. I tell them it's part of who you are. Why you are a teacher, isn't it? It's not just giving them. Otherwise, you're just a trainer. You do exercise. You just command and command, then you go.
Mhm.
You can be paid like the other in the where we have this cross training. You want to be like them, so just teach there. But you cannot teach here because this is about human relationship. They're humans. We're teaching people. We're not just teaching movements. We're not just teaching breathing.
Mhm.
They're people
Yeah.
with spirit like us. So if she cannot connect that way, I don't take them anymore.
Mm.
They don't teach at the studio anymore.
Yeah. That's
I have
great.
quite a I have a reputation of having higher standards for the teachers. You know, it's not the skills in queuing. It's not the skills in poses. What I want to see if they can connect with fellow human beings.
Mm. Mhm. That's
And
great.
maybe Amanda is young. It's very hard me sometimes, but you know, Amanda, having that kind of feeling with other people will really you get closer to yourself. The closer you get into the feelings and you know of other people, the closer you can get inside you. The closer you will feel inside you.
Mm. Yeah. Amanda's got a good connection with, I'd say teens, right, Amanda? Teenagers? Because that's who you've worked with a lot.
Oh my God.
Uh, yeah.
Troubled teens, even. Yeah.
Especially the troubled ones. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what
You
she's,
need a lot of compassion and empathy.
yeah. She
Plenty
does
of
have
that.
a lot of compassion and empathy for them. She's also really good with children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. Is he, is married already, Amanda?
No,
Is married not yet? How
not yet.
old is Amanda?
23.
Oh, the same age, 2000, huh? The
Yeah.
dragon. Dragon
Yeah.
year. My youngest daughter, Lara, who is in the States now, she's also a dragon.
Oh, she's same age as Amanda.
Yeah, September. This
Oh.
dragon, I call her dragon lady of all the kids I have. She's the one that really scares me.
Amanda's Amanda's
Huh?
also my fiery one.
Yeah. And my other kids are saying she's my favorite. No, I have no favorite.
That's
I
what
only
my
pay more attention. I pay more attention to her because she's like me. My God.
that's
See,
what her siblings say about her too, is that she's my favorite.
it's not because she's my favorite. It's because she's like me in a way.
Oh.
And and I'm afraid. I'm scared.
Well, I don't know if Amanda's like me, but
Hmm.
anyway.
You know,
Well,
after high
that's
school, she left. All of us went to the States and studied there on her own.
oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
She's
she
a
thrived well there.
Amanda's the only one out of her siblings who went away for college.
Yeah.
At
My God, that's it.
17. She left home at 17 to go away to college.
Yeah. Yeah. About that age too. Upon graduation of high school here,
Yeah.
she went to the States.
Yeah.
At first, she worked as a, she worked
Oh,
first. She found a job there.
wow. Well, that's all I have for today as far as discussion.
Yeah.
Uh,
By the way,
uh,
uh, a friend of mine again died of lung cancer last Monday,
I'm sorry.
and his my all my friends are going there this Friday morning, and I want to go with them. I don't want to go to that. Since they live up north in Pampanga, so
Okay.
the funeral is in Pampanga, so I have to go with them this Friday.
Okay. So you won't
And
be
then also, I want actually I just get the notes from you and the
yeah.
video, and then on Wednesday next week, it's the Christmas party of the studio. It's a
Oh,
brunch. So
okay.
it was not organized